lot of times people ask, well, what's the future of radio? What's the future of radio? Well, no, you're talking about the future of the radio business, right? Business is defined as it's been for 100 years, that radio. Radio didn't start this way, and radio probably won't end this way. The future of radio, that question is the wrong question, I would argue. The right question is, what do I, the consumer, want today and going forward? And who can deliver that to me, and how can they deliver that to me today and going forward? And whether that's through an audio medium, whether that's through a video medium, whether that's through a big company or a small one, those are different questions. The business of connection, the business of communication, I mean, if you think about this a little more thoroughly, I do some work with UT San Diego, a local media company, as newspaper companies are now called. And if you ask them what business they're in, they will not tell you the business of printing papers or even the business of disseminating news online. They will tell you they're in the business of connecting consumers to their clients by whatever means necessary, using the leverage at their disposal, the reach at their disposal, and the tools at their disposal. That's their business model. So for them to do a loyalty program, for them to do a deals platform, for them to do a TV channel as they're doing now, those are all extensions of their capacity to create these connections between those two groups. So in that space are lots of opportunities for students of media and people who want to further their career in audio, radio, podcasting, whatever you want to call it. But it's a different destination than it used to be. Yeah, we talked earlier about what does the PPM device, you know the PPM device, right? What does the PPM device measure? And I said, well, of course, it doesn't measure listening, right? Because PPM device doesn't know what I'm doing. It measures exposure to an inaudible signal, which is ironic at its core. But ultimately, the other thing about it is that because it's passive, very little of this media environment that we're faced with today rewards passivity, right? The stuff that's passive isn't the stuff that we consumers embrace. The stuff that becomes popular isn't generally what passive things, right? They're things that entrance us, that invite us, that spark our interest and our passions, things that pull us in, things that are magical, right? An Apple device has never been passive. And I think that's one of the challenges when you think about PPM. So when we talk about the business of radio, careers in radio and so on, we need to distinguish between careers that are directed towards satisfying these PPM devices that are deaf to the passions of consumers and careers that are about creating audio content that enlivens people's lives. And I think that's an important point too. The notion that there's no, quote unquote, there's no creativity in radio is not obviously true. The fact is that the system incentivizes us to minimize risks of all types, right? So there's plenty of creative people out there who want to do plenty of creative things, just like there always have been. You're minting a lot of them. The issue is, are there opportunities under this particular model for them to do what it is that drives their passions? The things that are most defensible for a radio brand are the things that are not music related, are the things that make it most unique. The stuff like entertaining personalities, the content that is specific to the brand. This is not brain surgery, right? You want to know what'll save the day in an auto dashboard? Don't worry so much about the technology. Worry about that piece of content which is exclusive to that spot on the dial, regardless of technology. And you have a behavior. So those are the jobs that make radio different from everything else. Not the fact that it plays the most music, not the fact that it plays your favorite music, not the fact that it personalizes the music mix. All of those are vulnerable. But the fact that it can offer something, be it sports, be it Preston and Steve in Philadelphia, major personality, a Howard Stern, whatever it happens to be, something that nobody else can provide. In the case of public radio and non-commercial Christian radio, I can tell you in all the conversations I have with these folks, Carolyn too, that the interest is on fulfilling the mission and increasing the satisfaction of the consumer, because without that we won't get their dollars. So their dollars are a tangible manifestation of their satisfaction, right? That tangible manifestation is a function of passion and fulfillment, not a function of passive experiencing of an inaudible radio signal, right? That's the main difference. So unless you're beholden to consumers, why should you ever worship them? Unless you're responsible to consumers, why should you create content that fulfills them? Unless consumers are what you think about every day instead of tomorrow morning's ratings, why should you be creating? You know, the beauty of radio, and radio is really a beautiful thing because the reach is vast. The ability to influence, the relationships that it has with audiences remain significant. The thing that often is lacking with these clever pieces of content is the vehicle that brings them to the masses, right? That's what radio has. Radio has the distribution channel. What it needs is the content that makes that distribution channel spark. That's a great opportunity for radio, and it's a great opportunity for people to create content that's intended for radio. Because if you put those things together, it's magic.